Hear from us.
Me too.
Why wasn't I invited to the luau is my follow-up question.
Well,
what did you and Mike do that Steven and Billy didn't do?
Would you like to know?
Bye, Billy. He's gone.
Okay, listen though, I have an important announcement.
Important announcement, everybody. Rob Benedict making an important announcement. Robbie,
Richard has a plane to catch because he's got to go to Vancouver to finish directing a TV show. And so he's only going to be able to join us on stage for like 10 minutes?
About 10 minutes, Bob.
Okay, so if you have a question for Rich only, or that, you really want Rich to answer, get to the front of the line, I'd say.
Because you haven't seen enough of me this weekend.
And then after that, I'm going to be up here by myself, so if you have any Rob questions, you'll have a chance to
little
answer
solo Bobo action for about 15 solid.
And then,
I really thought you were going to step on your iPad. Your iPad fell.
Yeah.
And you were just doing this whole stomp around red. I panicked. Even when I grabbed you, you're immune to me grabbing you. You're like, ah.
Yeah, I saw the panic in your face, and I thought, well, he's panicking for me. I don't need to panic.
Good point.
I'm going to take the layoff only because it's itchy.
All right, let's do it.
It's an itchy leg.
Low-hanging fruit, but that one,
Well,
all right, let's dive in. Rob?
Yeah.
Pick a side.
Okay.
You.
Oh man, you picked the wrong side.
That's
two options. I picked the wrong one.
green or
No, so this is my best friend Charlotte. We have been in a debate since December because I like to play a little game and it's stupid. So I'm warning you ahead because it's stupid.
Okay.
But I like to look at duos or like pairs of friends and like decide if they went to middle school together, which of them is more likely to use a rolly backpack. For Jensen and Jared, it's very obviously Jared, like those kinds of things. Like, and between me and my friend Charlotte, it's very obviously me. I will.
What's the significance of a rolling backpack versus
just an energy.
It's an energy. So you're either like this kind of person or you're this kind of person.
Yes. And for months, me and my best friend Charlotte have been arguing about which of you would be more likely to use a rolling backpack.
Well, I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
I think it'd be me using the rolling backpack.
What? Why do you think that?
And which one did you pick, young lady?
Why do you think that?
I don't know, man, because I carried a lot of books in high school, and I'm fairly organized. I feel like I have a lot, you know what I mean? Like, it's like carrying a briefcase, I feel like. I feel like Mr.
Here's the thing, this is why it's tricky. Don't celebrate this yet. He gave you his answer, doesn't mean it's the right answer, first of all.
Right?
I haven't chimed in.
Good point.
I was incredibly responsible in high school and middle school.
Okay.
However, I see what you mean. The part of you that's a director would definitely have a rolly backpack.
I was the president of my high school, right? I was an organized.
And I was like valedictorian of mine, right? So
you were this academic, I'm not. But you academically, you would have it.
which is academic would have like.
Yeah, but organization-wise, I'd have one. I think we both have rolling
I
backpacks.
think we both have rolling backpacks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that's the answer. We both, that's what we, now. But I think there are certain situations where I'm more of a backpacky and he's more of a rolling. Certainly like when it comes to directing, you're a rolling backpack guy.
Sure.
When it comes to like around this whole weekend,
That's you.
I'm a more of a rolling backpack guy, right?
But if we had to go with an answer, I'd say we're both rolling backpacks.
If I had to, yeah. But listen, I don't want to take your joy away.
Well, it's still joy. It's still a win for her.
Yeah, he's a rolling backpack guy, and I occasionally will step up.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
interesting question. Appreciate it. Over here.
Hi guys.
Hey.
So, and it's been like a year Rich since I got to ask Tim Amundsen, sorry.
I had dinner with Tim Amundsen when he was making his show up in Vancouver. Percy Jackson. Had a lovely dinner with Tim and his wife. It was lovely to see old Tim up there.
When was that? What?
A couple months ago.
Yeah, cool.
So, everybody Tim Amundsen.
We love Tim Amundsen.
Right here.
Hi, Rob, if you want to redeem yourself from yesterday, you probably already know this question, but Rich, if you were to create a color
what would it look like, and what would you name it? And Rob, if you would like to chime in and pick another color other than green.
I still have an answer. I picked, she wants to know if you could come up with a new color, what color would it be and what would it be called? And I said, yellow just into blue. And someone yelled green. And I said, that's right, I call it green, but with an E on the end.
I like it.
G-R-E-E-N-E.
I like it. Mine would be somewhere between chocolate mousse and doo-doo. Sort of a black brown, it'd be called poupée. Thank you. Yeah.
Rhymes with your toupee.
I'm Amanda from Florence, Kansas.
Hello.
And my question is, actually you both answer this, if you were to play a different character on Supernatural of the opposite sex, who would you pick and why?
Gosh, a lot of great options. I would say, I'm going to say Charlie. Because I'm kind of nerdy. I think Felicia Day is pretty cool.
Very cool.
And I think it's a great character. I'm kind of nerdy like that and quirky. I think I could do that.
Yeah. It's good call. Love Felicia. She's
Yeah.
great. I think I would be Abaddon, played by Elena Hoffman, because I would love to know what it's like to be tall and hot. So I'll go with Abaddon.
It's good. That was my second choice.
Yeah, good choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm doing Mad Libs. And,
Oh yeah, I brought her up here. We did a whole bit, Bobby.
Rob, you have a noun, please.
A noun. A noun.
Person, place, or thing. Right?
Yeah, no, I know what a noun is. I'm going to say TV set. A TV set.
The old TV set.
And it's done.
And it's done.
All right, Robbie, go get it and read it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, Rob's gonna read it out loud to everybody. Please, God, may I have a lot of profanity. Bob always blushes when he has to say dirty words.
Okay. Fable. Fable number one.
Table number one. everybody.
Once upon a time, a sparkly unicorn Rachel? A sparkly unicorn Rachel? Okay, a sparkly unicorn expert named Katie. Oh, I see, that's who said it. Okay. Once upon a time, a sparkly unicorn expert named Katie felt a green pain. She...
Green with an extra E, like your new medical color?
That's right. Topical. She sent for a sweaty surgeon who looked at his erect stomach, thank God, and said, huzzah!
Nice.
Then he muttered, prosaically?
Okay.
Okay, prosaically, I see your trouble. The TV set on your tall stomach is overlapping the brasserie next to your kidney. The surgeon coquettishly took him to the supercilious operating room of the hospital. There he made a gnarly incision, reaching from the patient's stick to his atrocious, sweet Jesus in a Jeep, said the surgeon. Oh, to his atrociousness. Sweet Jesus in a Jeep, said the surgeon. That takes care of the shiny ball. Okay, well, that's, makes sense. With that, he began sewing up the incision. However, on the 10th stitch, the patient sneezed and almost pulled the hippo out of the Richard Speight Jr. Got to pay a nickel,
You know what I mean?
But the surgeon took one final stitch and saved the jersey. The moral of the story, a forest in time saves 9. Very well done,
Where's the
everybody.
TV set?
TV set was back. Wait, you weren't listening during the first act. It was up at the top.
Oh.
The TV set on your tall stomach is
Oh,
overlapping.
God, sorry, that would be the end. All right.
It's overlapping the brasserie next to your kidney. Thank you so much. This is lovely. You did great. Everybody did. What a great thing to do.
What a great thing. So great. You.
Hi guys, my name is Pepper.
Hello.
I love Supernatural then and now. I loved And my guest is Richard Speight.
Thank you.
My question is, are we going to get more Kings of Cons?
We have the podcast? Yeah, we are. It's been a little tough with our work schedules, and we do a lot of the Supernatural Then and Now, which eats into our podcasting. But yes, we're still trying to keep up with our Monday morning mop-ups and our Kings of Con podcast. Yes.
It's been a particularly busy couple of months for us both, but that is ending pretty soon.
Yes, so you'll be getting more of that soon, very soon.
Yes,
Within like a week or so.
In like a week or so, we're going to be back.
We're back on. And thank you for listening. For those who don't know, Rob and I host a podcast called Supernatural Then and Now. It's a rewatch podcast, or for Rob and Rich, a first watch podcast. We're going episode by episode. Fascinating guests, each and every podcast, from the crew to the cast, to people you've never heard of or from, and people you know very well. It's fascinating, it's educational, it's very, very, very entertaining, and I find it very humorous. Please, join us, won't you, for Supernatural Then and Now, wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, it is free.
And if you really haven't gotten your fill of Rob and Rich, there's another podcast we do called Kings of Con, the podcast, where it's just Rich and I talking for 40 to 60 minutes.
It's like this.
It's like this.
Only the same.
That's right.
All right. Everybody.
Free spot?
Hi, so I'm doing the podcast.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, what's the best part of doing?
The best part about doing the podcast, I'll tell you right now what I think the best part about doing the podcast is. Anybody who listens to Supernatural Then and Now, the podcast, knows what I think the best part is. Nobody makes me laugh harder than Rob Benedict, and I end up laughing my face off. If it's a 20-minute podcast, or it's a 45-minute podcast, 10 of those minutes is me laughing my face off. It could be when he's doing something intentionally funny, could be accidentally funny, could be producer Steve Hines' horrible syntax when he's writing his summaries. But at some point in the podcast, I end up losing it. It happens every time, and you'll hear it in the bloopers, usually. You can put it in there.
We have a really good time. I mean, for me, every time we do either that, look, Rich is a very busy guy, I'm a busy guy. Lately, the only time we actually talk to each other is via the podcast. So there isn't a podcast, whether it's our personal podcast or the Supernatural podcast, that doesn't put me in a great mood just after, like, man, that was fun.
It's always fun.
It's never not fun. So we just have a really great time talking with each other on the air.
Well, thank you for listening. Appreciate it. And you.
Howdy.
Howdy.
How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I am fantastic.
Good.
My name is Lizzie, and I am from England, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
Hi Richard. I was at your meeting the other day.
I love it.
I have Sandy with me now.
I see
There you
that.
go.
Do you want to? No, I'm kidding. He's fine. What is the most unbelievable yet true excuse for being late to somewhere?
Huh?
What's the most unbelievable but true excuse you had to use for being late to somewhere? And for example, I'm late because my son just, nearly cut his finger
Well,
off.
like it was something that really happened to either you or me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you had to use it as an excuse. Like, I feel like you had some excuses. I'm like, Rich, literally you're an hour late. You're like, yeah, boy, I've got a story for you. And it's like, one of your sons stepped on a nail.
It's always that. It's for me, and I don't think it's all that unbelievable because I have 3 sons. So sons entering themselves is incredibly believable, but it's usually somewhere.
But you have 3 particularly active boys.
Yeah, so
there's not an evening that he's not in the emergency room.
No, man. I mean, like I had, flesh slices put up, and I had Frank break a collarbone. I've had like Steve cut over his chin doing the worm. One of my personal favorites.
It's great. I've done the work, man. It could happen.
It happened. So I just will have to go with parental dealings with childhood injuries. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Robbie?
Boy. I guess mine, I don't know. Spending the evening in the slammer. That was a good one.
Yeah. Getting locked in the old clink.
Yeah.
Serving time.
When we had,
You missed a flight because
we were deported from England for not having a work permit for playing a gig with the band. Me and the band, we got locked up in England. So that was, and I had to miss a couple things. That was a good one.
Yeah. So there you go. Rob serving time and me just parenting. With that, I say adios to all of y'all. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Robert Patrick Benedict. It's been a real treat. I don't get to do this all the time, especially I don't get to do Fridays very much. It was awesome
Hi.
Hi, my name is Summer.
Hi, Summer.
In Jersey we have pork roll. I was wondering if you tried it.
What, pork roll? No. How is it?
It's really good.
Really?
Yeah.
So is it like a hot dog?
It's like a breakfast meat. It's like bacon and like,
And it's rolled, it's wrapped up in a roll?
yeah, you cut it and just like Canadian bacon.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really yummy. I don't love eating pigs because I think they're really smart animals. However, I do like a good piece of bacon. It's hard to pass up, you know what I mean? I'd like to try it. Well, I'll try it. I'll see if I can try it before I leave. Okay, please do. All right, thanks, Summer. Hi,
Hi, my name is Josiane. I'm from Montreal.
nice to meet you.
I'm going back to the Supernatural Then and Now podcast,
Yeah,
which I really love.
thanks.
I want to know what's the process in watching an episode. Like, do you watch it with someone? Do you eat snacks? Do you watch it over a few days?
Right.
And mostly, are Jon Snow real or not?
Yes, so she wanted to know like how I watch the episodes, and I sometimes make notes. I like always make notes, but I don't always read them. So yeah, so we go, okay, we schedule a time, that's Thursday, we're gonna be recording 3 episodes in a row. So I need to watch the next 3 episodes before Thursday, right? So that's what I'll do. I'll sit down, either watch them all at once, or I'll watch them over my lunch hour a lot while I'm eating my lunch. And, or sometimes I'll watch them late at night. And usually I watch them by myself on my TV, but sometimes Ruth will come through and she'll sit and watch for a second with me. But mostly I'm by myself, and I'm way into it. I'm totally like nerd out on the show. I mean, I'm not even kidding around with you. Like, I'm really loving Supernatural. It's a really great show that I never really watched. So, yeah, so I'll watch it, and like, there's just things that happen that I know I'll forget because I'll get caught up in the show. So whether or not it's like, you know, Jensen looks really pasty in this scene, so I like to write that down, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like, what was up with that guy that did that thing? So I was like, write this little fact down that I'll say sometimes on the air, just because I think it's a fun talking point. But yeah, so I'll watch it, and it's fun. It's great. And it's a great way to sort of, you know, a lot of times when you binge a show, sometimes you'll fall off it. You'll take a couple weeks and you're not watching it. But this is like, I've got to keep watching it because we've got these shows we have to record. So it like keeps me on track, you know. Like somebody who I've talked to who's here watched the whole show every day for the last 326 days or whatever, just leading up to this convention. And that was kind of cool, like you had to watch an episode a day. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I can tell you, man, we just finished season 3, started season 4, and it's like so good right now. It's getting really good. I don't know if you know this, but it's really good. And I'm assuming everyone's seen what I've already seen, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. But all of season 3, Dean's going to die, and you're going, well, Dean's obviously not going to die, because I was there. I tried to kill him in season 15, so I know he lives. So I'm not going to be scared of this. Richard Meyer joke was like, oh, yeah, oh, Jensen's going to die, and then the show's over. Oh, well, I guess our podcast is done, because that season 3 it all ends, you know, because Jensen dies, or Dean dies. So we're watching, and get to the end of season 3, and guess what? Dean fucking dies! I couldn't believe it! He's getting ravaged by these invisible dogs, and I'm like, oh, it's a dream. And when he's going to wake up, be like, oh, I had this crazy dream. No dream! And I'm like, oh, they're going to meet someone who gets, they can go back in time and avoid the dog. It doesn't happen! He's dead! Dead! I couldn't believe it, you guys! They killed me! And then beginning of season 4, he's alive again, but in a coffin. Did some stuff, and then I was like, oh, this must be a weird alt universe where people wake up in coffins and they can. No, it's just really happened. He woke up, he's alive again, and then they talking about this demon named Castiel, and then this young, really super young, handsome guy in a trench coat comes through. It's fucking Misha Collins. It was a goosebump moment. I'm not kidding around. Ruth came in and said, "Oh, he's so young." I'm like, wings going up and all that. I've seen that shot so many times, but I didn't know in what order it all happened, you know? I thought he busted through the doors and he had the wings and you go, whoa! But no, he busted in, lights are flashing, they're trying to shoot him! It's Cassio, why are you trying to kill him? Because they didn't know he was a demon. And then he's raised from perdition, and then he's like, wow, that's amazing. I'm so excited what happens next, I don't know. And what's crazy is, I haven't gotten to me yet. I'm loving this show, it's so surreal. At some point I'm gonna be like, ah, that's me! I can't wait. Oh, it's so exciting. So anyway, that's right. Thanks for your question. You have another follow-up?
Like tomorrow is the last episode of season 3.
Okay.
Do we have to wait more than 1 week for season 4 to watch?
I think he did say, because we started to record it, season 1, 4-1, but I think he wants to wait and take like 2 weeks off for whatever reason, kind of reset, and then we'll have sort of a relaunch of season 4. But it's going to be good. I'll give you a hint, Misha Collins. It's going to be good, really good. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Autumn. I was just wondering what your favorite like blooper was, like that didn't end up making the show.
Supernatural? Gosh, man. I mean, yeah. Okay, so there were a lot of funny moments. The further I got into the show, where we all knew each other better, the more jokes there were, obviously. And in season 11, when I come back and we're about to go to war with the darkness, and I'm kind of standing on this really tall block or whatever, and I'm standing over basically all the leads of the show. It's like Jensen, Jared, Misha, Mark Shepard, and Ruth. And they shoot their coverage first, right? So I say all my lines, which like, I'm rallying the troops. I'm God, I'm rallying the troops. And they're all supposed to be, they're all, I'm God to them. So they do their acting. Oh, wow, okay. And then the camera turns on me, so I finally get to do my part. And these jokers, they were doing everything they could to try to make me laugh. At one point, Jared's finger was sticking out of Misha's pants. Like he had his hand around him and through the zip of his fly, so that was fun. Mark was doing his best to just not listen to me, so he'd be like, not listening to me. And then Ruth was the only one who's like, Robert, I'm listening, Robert, I'm listening. The other guys are just doing everything they can. The funny thing about those guys too is like, Jared was the obvious prankster. He would fart, he tried to play footsie with me under the table. He really tried to make me laugh, that was his favorite thing. And Jensen was sneaky, because he was like, I'm not doing anything, no problem. But like, the minute you looked at Jared, Jensen was trying to get, there was one point where I was like talking to the both of them in like season 11, and I'm looking at Jared who's like doing something farty or making a face, and then look over at Jensen, and he's like making a funny face, and then, so he's sneaky, he'll get away with stuff. But I guess that was it was half my favorite moment, because I was working with all these people that I love, and they're like the leads of the show, and that was a kind of a cool thing, and that was back when I was still an okay God, so it was a good moment, just before you all started hating me. But also, it's just like, they're such pranksters, and they're just doing everything they could to make me laugh. And if you could have seen what I saw, it was pretty wild, but yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
This is my first convention, and thank you very much for Loud and Swing. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank
You are
you.
an awesome singer. And I've been a fan since the pilot episode, and then the introduction of Chuck Shirley, and then, of course, your graduation to the Almighty was fascinating.
Thank you.
But knowing now, after your podcast, which I started listening to recently, that you haven't watched the show. So
Yeah.
I was like fascinated that he hasn't watched the show, and he plays a very pivotal character.
I know.
How do you prepare for it? Wow, it's
Well,
fascinating.
the truth is that I've watched certain episodes, I always try to watch the episode my character would reference, I go back and watch that. And I saw clips and things, I just never sat down and watched, and I realized in rewatching the show, oh my God, I never actually saw the episode where Jensen says the family business or whatever, and I'm going, oh, that's the So yeah, I just never sat down and watched the whole thing, and I've missed, that to watch it in order, But yeah, playing God, certainly I have enough experience with the show, and I've seen enough bits, and doing these conventions, you learn a lot, because you guys don't miss a thing. So like, I'll get asked questions where I'm like, yeah, well the answer is, I'm sorry, what happened? And then I find out what it was. So by the time season 11 came around, where I was God, I knew a lot. By that point, I'd been doing a lot of conventions, and I certainly knew a lot. So I certainly tried to be responsible as an actor and watch everything I could to know what I was talking about. But at the same time, for the stuff, the little bits that I missed, there was the thing about God in season 11 was like, he was kind of an absentee father. That was the part of it. Was he was like, yeah, I know enough, and that's where their problem with him. So it worked. You know what I mean? That I didn't know every single little bit and pieces. And I still think like the end of season 5, that swan song was such a great. I thought that was such a cool episode to do, and I remember recording the voiceover for that, and I feel like all those words that Eric Kripke wrote meant so much. I feel like that summed up so much for those boys, and that meant a lot to me. These little things that have a big impact on me, and I think all that stuff plays into it. And I did always feel when I played God, even when it got bad at the end, I still always felt that it was really true that he loved that Sam and that Dean more than anybody. And it wasn't just that he wasn't a heartless God. He just was like thinking a bigger picture, thinking about himself, not really, humans maybe don't, easy little chess pieces he could play with, but he really did love them. And I love it. Thank you. I guess I have time for one more question, guys.
This is actually really good timing.
Okay, hi.
I actually wanted to know how you Loud and Sweet came to be as a band.
Oh, great timing. So in the 90s, no joke, it was probably 95 or something, Mike went to graduate school where I went to undergrad, so we knew some of the same people. We ended up getting together with another guy who played guitar, and we all just would play guitar and cover songs. And then we started sort of introducing, I wrote this song, and we were all writing songs and singing them. And then we played them out at a party I had at my apartment, and one of the people at the party was a friend of a friend named Steve Norton. And afterwards he was like, hey, I play the drums, would you want me to be your drummer? And we were like, yeah! And then once you have a drummer, and Mike was like, hey, I'll slide over and play the bass. I'm like, we got a band. And that's kind of how we came together. And then the other guitar player kind of dropped off in the late 90s, and we just played as a 3-piece. And that was fun, but we were always missing that, another guitar player. And one evening, several evenings, we played with another band, and the lead singer of that band was Billy Moran. And they were called Lost at Mayberry. And Lost at Mayberry broke up, and Billy called us, and he was like, would you want me to join your band? Really? I fucking would love that. And when Billy joined the band in 2006, it all really came together. And
He passed the audition. That's pretty
yeah, then it really then we became what we are today, and what we've been ever since. And, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for a lovely weekend. New Jersey, you always impress, and we've all been talking about it backstage. What a wonderful energy it is here. We love it. You make it easy for us. We love you so much. We'll be back. And now we're going to sing a song. We're going to sing the Eagles. Please sing with us if you know it. It's the end of the con as we know it. It's the end of the con as we know it. It's the end of the con as we know it. So go home. At your own grass, you eat greens and photograph. It's the end of the con as we know it. It's the